and welcome back to our third webinar on resilience, and thank you very much for joining us. My name is Jenny Dixon, and I'd like to give you a quick introduction to the Coaching Direct panel today. So we've got Chris McWilliam, want to give a wee wave, and Cathy Thompson, and Lorna Lothian. So the purpose of the webinar series has been to build on the free resource we launched on our website shortly after the COVID lockdown. And this is really to support you as much as we can by sharing our knowledge of coaching over the past decade. Over the last couple of weeks, we have covered the use of strengths profiling and introduced the importance of emotional intelligence, and more specifically, the EQI model we part of our coaching offering. So today, Cathy will be providing us with an overview on resilience and hopefully giving you some useful hints and tips. Just before we get started, some housekeeping. Please interact with us using the chat function, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen. Please also use the Q&A function if you have any questions. And if we have time at the end of the session, Kirsty will follow up with you. If not, we will get back to you as soon as we can. We'll also be sharing the slides and presentation after the event, and you'll receive this through an email. So the chat is now open. Please say hello. Lorna will be picking up your messages. Tell us your name and where you are at the moment, and maybe tell us how you're feeling today. It could be that you're fantastic and the sun is shining in Edinburgh, or it might be that you're just okay or feeling a wee bit overwhelmed. So please let us know now. So I'd like to hand over to Cathy, who will be picking up from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. So today's session is just to serve as a basic introduction to resilience and 4 associated pillars. I'll share some simple tips that will hopefully resonate with you. I'm going to talk to you about change and resilience and a little introduction on how we can start thinking about being more resilient. This is a topic that I've focused on in many guises as a change leader and coach. There's lots of different models of resilience, but this one really resonates with me, and it's a real simple reminder. The key message of this webinar is really about how you can make small changes to start making sure that you're taking care of yourself and your family before you can take care of your family and your team. So we'll further cover what resilience is, some strategies and tips, and hopefully you can take away some small actions. So we're all facing challenges in this current environment. It's been a really strange time for us all. We've had to adapt, and it's clear when we're talking with our clients, the sound of their children in the background, washing machines going, dogs barking, or the doorbell ringing, that we've all had to adjust, some of us more than others. We could all be seeing changes in our lives and a restlessness in society, and this could be the start of a long and testing journey. It may feel like things that we've taken for granted a year ago, maybe we can't take for granted anymore. So this means keeping a real check on our resilience levels is even more important right now. So how do we manage our stress and anxiety when it seems we have no choice but to face some of our, worst concerns? So I guess hopefully this short webinar will help our thinking and awareness around resilience. So firstly, I want everyone to smile. Smile now, just smile at yourself. This is about invoking a reaction in this moment to make you feel better and create a slight change in your mood. So Lorna, I was just going to ask you if we have any comments in the chat before we move on.
Everyone's enjoying the nice warm weather, Cathy. Feeling good, enjoying the weather. We've got people from all over and recognise some names from our previous webinars, so welcome everyone.
Good, welcome everyone. So firstly, I'm going to look at the change curve. So I wanted to share this tool. Most of you will know the change curve. Oh, most of you will know the change curve. It's a grief curve that Kubler-Ross's work was based on. So what happens when we incur loss in times of change? It's a simple tool that I've used for years. You may have seen it in our free resources. I've used it with a big change project and all sorts of circumstances, for example, during organizational changes too, and more recently with coaching clients transitioning to a new way of working at home. And the thing is, we all experience the change curve every day, but we usually move through it quite quickly under normal circumstances. Change is all around us at the moment. It seems to be happening faster than ever, and the pace of change is relentless, and this really does feel like life now. Constant change in our lives can cause us a lot of stress, and our response to change can have a big impact on our resilience levels. Change, such as the changes we've all had to make recently, give us a whole set of new challenges, and that includes managing our emotions. So we all follow a similar path when we're dealing with change, and this change curve can help us understand the phases, but it's also good for you to recognize where you might be on it and where your team members might be. I've been very conscious of how it represents my feelings in particular moments, and it's helped me to pause and reflect. Anytime we're going through change, it can definitely help you to recognize where you are. So you'll probably find that you continuously go through the curve again and again, often numerous times a day. So let's take a little look at an example of how the change curve may have played out during COVID and our reaction while going through each phase. Let's bring it to life a little. The first phase was shock. Shock that we surprise or shock at the event, not being able to go to work, not being able to go out, see friends, the realization of what is actually happening here. Lockdown was then enforced as we went into denial, disbelief. We were looking for evidence that this wasn't true. It's not actually happening. Then we think about people's reactions, not seeing people, fear, what does the future hold? Will I get sick? Will my family get sick? Worrying about older family, my kids can't go to school. The anger phase could have been a bit more frustration maybe, where we recognise that everything is different now. Some of us may have got a little angry, frustrated, maybe even angry at others for breaking lockdown rules. Then we move on to bargaining. We might have started to ask the question, please, can we get back to normal? Can we see a few people? Can we maybe get a haircut? Then depression, when we realise the end is not clearly in sight. Remember, we thought lockdown might only last for 6 weeks max. We could potentially stop taking care of ourselves here, stop doing the things that make us feel good, and in turn bring our resilience levels down. We could have a low mood and a lack of energy. Once we can see a little more clearly and we get used to the new situation, we move into acceptance. We've gotten used to a new way of working and we feel a little more positive and optimistic about the future. We've gained that clarity that we're trying to protect people, the vulnerable, our NHS key workers. Maybe we can become renewed and start to integrate some positive changes into our lives. Every one of us has felt these feelings in a different order, and we can go up and down the curve in any order many times in one day. Most people do subconsciously move through the change curve, and everyone at a different pace depending on the phase they're in and their own situational factors. I'm really sharing this with you as resilience is about how we think about change, how we relate, how we adapt, and how we prepare ourselves for change. I think we've all learned a lot, and this situation has definitely built our resilience. So I'm just going to have a quick poll. How does this resonate with you? Where do you think you might be on the change curve today? So Jenny, where would you be in the change curve at this present moment?
I think I agree with you in terms of it's felt a bit of a roller coaster up and down. I think particularly at the moment with all the kind of changing advice from the government, I'm kind of going from denial to kind of confusion, depression, then kind of acceptance, while I'm kind of, so each day is kind of different for me.
Absolutely, up and down on the curve. You can go anywhere on any given day, and you can be on the curve all the time throughout the same day. Kirsty, do we have some?
We do. I'll end the poll here, Cathy. We have actually quite a lot of people are up in the acceptance phase, nearly 70, but still some down on denial, some in anger, a lot in bargaining as well, and then a couple still on that kind of depression stage as well. So I'll end the poll now.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to look a little bit at, let's look at defining resilience a little bit more. So when we understand what it means, we can start to think about developing it a little bit further. There are lots and lots of different definitions of resilience, and it means different things to different people, but I think this is a really good way to describe it. Resilience is having the ability to withstand stress, ambiguity, deal with the chaos while having inner strength, resourcefulness to cope with change in uncertain times. Another really great definition of resilience is just never giving up. So we've all experienced challenges in our lives, and at some point these experiences do really change us, sometimes for the better and sometimes not so much. Sometimes we can end up feeling fear, or sometimes they turn us into stronger human beings with a greater trust in our own ability to manage whatever life throws at us. Developing resilience might just be the most important thing that we can do for our well-being right now. So what is the good news about resilience? Resilience can absolutely be a set of skills that we can learn. And like every other skill, they require practice, the making of mistakes, and learning from these mistakes. A big part of building resilience is failure too. It's about picking ourselves up again after we fall. A good example of this would be a child learning to ride a bike. When we accept that a big part of life means that we will fail at things, we naturally cope better and become more resilient. When did it become an expectation that we have to do everything perfectly in the beginning? It's about how we pivot, adapt to change, and once we're knocked down, take stock, reflect, and give ourselves feedback. So it's learning, feeling, and pivoting. So let's have a look at how to build and cultivate our resilience. So there are, like I mentioned before, there's lots and lots of models of resilience, but it can be helpful to break it down into these 4 pillars: physical, emotional, mental, and social. And we believe that this is overarched by our purpose. So physical resilience is about movement, moving even when we don't feel like it, making physical activity a priority in our lives. Emotional resilience refers to our ability to adapt to stressful situations and challenges. Mental resilience, or in other words, mental toughness. Mental strength involves developing those daily habits that build that mental muscle. Perhaps you've all heard of muscle memory from working out. It's much the same. Mental strength also involves giving up those bad habits that hold us back. Social resilience is the final pillar and is a reflection of our relationships and connections with others. If you've heard of one of our favourite optimists, Simon Sinek, he often talks about the importance of belonging and the importance of finding your tribe, those people in your life that will always have your back. We've all had to adapt to nurturing our relationships in a very different way since lockdown. So these 4 pillars together help strengthen our life, and when they're in balance, our resilience is subsequently strengthened, giving us that ability to effectively cope with mental stressors and challenges that life throws at us, making us ready for change. The good news again is that each of these pillars can definitely be taught. So all 4 pillars are overarched by our purpose. Our power is in our purpose. Perhaps you've experienced times when you felt truly connected, like a time where you were performing a task you were made for, helping a friend out, working for a charity, after a really great coaching session, looking after your babies, cooking a great meal, supporting others. And it can also have that spiritual connection too. It's likely that these were moments when you've been in harmony with your purpose. Our purpose offers definitive emotional and psychological benefits. When we think about our purpose, we can all feel a little overwhelmed too. What is my purpose in life? I believe that we can start thinking about our moment purpose. Life is made up of little moments where we are following our purpose at that given time. All these little moment purposes also lead to our life purpose. So let's maybe think about a moment purpose. So in the chat, during lockdown, when has there been a time, during the last period where you felt really harmonious, when you felt lost in the moment? Let us know in the chat. Jenny, can you remember a time when you felt really in the moment during this recent period?
Yeah, I think it was actually, I don't know, I've lost track of the weeks, but I think it was probably the 3rd or 4th week of lockdown, and we went a walk with the kids up a hill, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and I just had a kind of moment of calmness. And it was just with everything that had been going on, it was just that kind of, this is going to be okay, that kind of feeling.
That was your moment purpose. Lorna, what do we have in the chat?
Well, Jane's saying when she's been gardening, Kirsty when she's been out on her paddle board, Chris is saying when he's been constructing and painting a new planter, Fran's saying when taking part with neighbours for the NHS clap, Bernadette saying cooking, Sophie's saying organising the children's schoolwork after about week 8 though, Ed when he's on his bike, and Rebecca when she delivered her first online workshop.
Wow. See, all these little moments in life, they're all our moment purposes. So let's take a look now at each pillar that we've got in turn and talk about some of the most impactful and measurable action goals that we can take to start building our resilience. It's really those small achievable goals and micro habits that make that massive difference. So there are lots of aspects within each pillar, but I've pulled out some quick wins that we can implement slowly into our daily lives. There are lots of small ways to build our resilience, and sometimes we can get a little overwhelmed. This is really not about you working harder. It's about starting small and giving yourself small goals. Maybe focus on the pillar that resonates with you the most. What could have the biggest impact on you? What would make the most difference to you right now? I bet you're all really, really good at this, but it can serve as a reminder and can get you to start thinking about, yeah, your own resilience toolkit. So let's start with physical. I'm going to chat through a few things. We've put some circles up with suggestions of what to do. Maybe have a think about what you're struggling to do and why you might be struggling. So the most important part of physical resilience is sleep. With the current uncertainty within the world, it can be hard not to feel slightly anxious. When we're feeling stressed out, it can be difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep. Sleep plays a vital role in our resilience levels, and a lack of sleep can have such a detrimental effect on all the other pillars. So what can we do? Stick to a schedule. With little routine, it's easy to stay up watching TV or lie in late in the morning. However, this definitely directly impacts our mental health and lessens the quality of sleep that we are getting. It's best to pick a bedtime and wake up time and try to stick to them as much as possible. There are lots of apps available to help you manage reminders of when to slow down. Until you're aware of the habit, get yourself a reminder on your phone. When that reminder goes off, it's time to wind down. Could be good to avoid caffeine and alcohol as well. It goes without saying that caffeine and alcohol are both stimulants and will sabotage your sleep quality. Did you know that your body is still working off the caffeine at 10 p.m. for a coffee you had at 2? Also limit your alcohol intake. It can become a crutch during stressful periods. It can also be helpful to turn off the noise, turn off your phone, your TV. It's about recognizing when you need to start winding down. And avoid watching the news and talking about stressful things just before bedtime. If you're worried, try and distract yourself with calming podcasts, meditation, and breathing exercises. So let's take a little look at movement. Exercise improves our mood, increases our energy, reduces stress, and improves our concentration levels. So what can we start to do? Start by going outside every day, taking in nature, slowly build up to developing an exercise routine. Start really slowly. Commit to a specific time every day. Begin with a few minutes and really just focus on the consistency. Find a walking partner. A walking partner can be a strong incentive to walk every day, especially when the sky is grey and you might find an excuse not to go out. So commit to moving your body in some way for at least 30 minutes a day. So just a little point to add on that. Be aware of when you might exercise. High intensity can be better early in the morning as it can affect our ability to sleep by the increase of stress hormones. Be very conscious of doing the right exercise at the right time. Walking is a great low intensity workout. So finally, nutrition is also a key factor in physical resilience, and some further simple ideas for improving could be simply drinking water. Water improves our memory and mood, and it also helps with reducing our sugar cravings and improves our exercise performance. Eat the rainbow. The more colours we eat, the wider the range of incredible compounds we get, plus the variety is good for the little bugs that live in our gut, collectively known as our microbiome. And it can be good to eat within a 12-hour window as well. So eating all your food in a restricted window gives your body that chance to enhance its own natural house cleaning and helps to repair any cell damage. So eating a balanced diet directly impacts and boosts our resilience levels. It's important to remember, don't try to go on a diet if you're already stressed. Instead, focus on eating what makes your body feel good. Most importantly, be kind to yourself about what you eat. So these are some ideas that I had. I didn't want to overwhelm you all, but let us know in the chat what ideas might work for you, or if you've got any more ideas. Jenny, which ideas work for you?
Well, I've been trying hard to do more exercise in lockdown, and it's kind of what you're saying. I have to do it first thing in the morning, or I find excuses for the rest of the day. And I think the kind of other thing is the kind of sleep. I try and get to my bed, but if I'm watching a box set or something, I get sometimes carried away. So I need to be a bit stronger with myself.
It's just about getting those habits in, isn't it? Changing the little habits that you're aware of. Lorna, do we have anything in the chat?
Oh, I'm just trying to see here, Cathy. Sticking to regular sleep is a good one. Yes, everyone's waking up a bit earlier at the moment, I think, with the light mornings and the birds and stuff. So a regular sleep pattern, morning walks, I'm suggesting here.
It's about starting the day well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's take a little look. Oh, mine. Was there
Mindful
another?
drinking alcohol, yeah. People are mindful of doing that at the moment. Yeah.
Is that she's mindfully drinking alcohol, which I quite like. It's like it's combining the two together. That's really good, Rebecca.
Absolutely, mindfully drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Let's look at emotional resilience. And this is one of my favourite topics. So the key to building emotional resilience and grit is really patience, and having patience with yourself as well. So 3 things that I just wanted to call out to maybe help is just learn to sit with yourself. Give yourself permission to feel. Give yourself time to reflect on what's actually going on for you. Give yourself time to process and think about how you're feeling, and allow yourself to feel whatever way that is. This can be a really great way to find peace in your day, and it can also help us to be less reactive. I guess this time for you just sitting there is your moment purpose. Smiling instantly makes us feel more positive, and smiling is definitely contagious. Usually what researchers find is that more people smile when they see someone smiling at them. And of course, practicing gratitude. The benefits of practicing gratitude are nearly endless. People who regularly practice gratitude by taking time to notice and reflect upon the things they're thankful for experience more positive emotions. They feel more alive, they sleep better, they express more compassion and kindness, and they could even have a stronger immune system. So just find the right time for you, whether that's in the morning, just before a meal, or before you go to bed. Write down 3 things you're grateful for today. Kirsty, I know that this is part of your daily routine, so maybe you could share, how do you practice gratitude?
Yeah, no, we've done it for quite a long time now. We've got 2 boys, who one's taller than me now, so it's gone on a while. So we end the day very much with what went well during the day, what didn't go so well during the day, to have a conversation, to get boys talking. But then we always finish for what you're grateful for. I think it's really nice. It's really nice when you hear other people's what they're grateful for as well. So yeah, we do it at bedtime before everyone goes to bed.
And I'm sure we've got lots of people on the webinar that love to practice gratitude as well. So I guess in summary on emotional resilience, it's really about having a plan for self-care as well, and being kind to yourself, and having a plan for how you can look after yourself, not forgetting to take time out for you. Have a bath, go for a walk, read, relax, recognize if you're giving yourself that time. It's not about trying to change everything at once, it's about building small habits into your day. So let's take a little look at mental resilience. So some tips. Which of these tips could you potentially try and do? Limit multitasking. Our brains weren't meant to multitask. Limiting multitasking can also help us to become a little more present as well. Our brains are designed to focus on the one thing at a time, and lots of information at once slows them down. Have you ever thought about how much value you get from a task if you're doing 3 or 4 things at once? So quite a good recent example of this is Zoom. We're all on lots of Zoom calls at the minute, and it can be less draining if we just focus on the speaker or facilitator instead of trying to look at everyone on the call. Is there any chance you can get up any earlier every day, have a morning routine? That can definitely set you up for a better day. And of course, I'm sure you're all very conscious of this one, but limit social media. We're always mentally stimulated when we're checking social media, and sure, you have that downtime. It could be interesting to ask yourself, why do you need to check social media? Why the endless scrolling? It's another habit. Maybe it's light relief from what you don't want to think about. Instead of scrolling through your phone, maybe use your phone to call a friend instead. So mental resilience is massively connected to the other pillars. Getting up that little bit earlier if you have a really busy life, to have some time to think, plan your day, and give yourself some focus could be super helpful. So giving you that time to tackle the day. Life is really chaotic and we can be up and down that change curve all day. So just adding some of these little habits in can prevent a knock-on effect. So social resilience, we come to my last pillar. So social resilience, how do we improve our social resilience? It's been really difficult for people during lockdown as that social interaction has been completely on Zoom. which is definitely not the same. So we can nurture our relationships, keep ourselves connected. Strong relationships can provide you with important support when times are really tough. And strong relationships don't just happen. We need to put time and effort into them. We can be present in the conversations we're having with friends and family. I often think about the importance of being present, not perfect, with my friends, family, and my coachees. How are you prioritizing? Take your distractions away. For example, your phone. Be present and engaged for your friends. Again, this is your moment purpose. Schedule some kindness. Do something every day to help someone else. Wish someone well. Next time you ask someone how they're doing, have a real interest in their answer. Don't accept I'm fine. Sometimes people just want to listen, someone to listen. So what one thing can you do to make yourself feel better tomorrow? Keep doing it, and keep doing that one thing until it becomes a habit, and then focus on your next goal. Making changes in our lives, it's all about mindset too, and some habits are easier to change and some are harder. This is really where coaching can help too. So what can you add to your day? So maybe for each pillar or each section, pick one thing and start to refresh your routine. So for me, I think prioritizing sleep is the most important change any of us can make in our lives. And I really do think that adequate sleep is a complete game changer. So do we want to share in the chat if anyone has any great tips they can share, or what small actions that they want to share with the group? And Jenny, what do you think you might do differently?
I really like Kirsty's idea actually of the gratitude with the kids. I like the idea that it's kind of helping them talk. And also I would quite like to try that. And I think for my other one is definitely water. This has been sitting since this morning. I need to drink more water. So that's the two that I'm going to take away.
Good. And just maybe while the chat function's going there, because I think you were asking everything to put one thing that they can take away is into chat. So while that's going, we do have a question, if that's okay, Cathy, from Mike. He's just asking how to encourage someone who's vulnerable to do these things. What would you think?
I think it has to be starting really, really small, doesn't it? Yeah. If let's say take an example of exercise or physical movement, just 5 minutes a day, just even stepping outside is a step in the right direction, isn't it? It's about starting small and building up and then creating consistency. Yeah. I think in times of uncertainty at the minute, we have to, we can't set very long-term goals. It has to be short-term, doesn't it? Small goals, short-term goals.
Yeah. And I suppose if you're the person encouraging them, then it's just about celebrating that, isn't it? Yeah. Someone said to me, actually just celebrate the fact that actually someone got out the bed in the morning sometimes can be enough to actually get them to do the next step. So brilliant, thank you. Hope that was okay, Mike.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
How are we doing for time, Kirsty?
Good. Laura, what have we got going on in the chat, and then we can
well, Francine, I think a couple of people have really taken up on the gratitude thing, Cathy. So you're writing, Sophie's going to write down 3 things each day that she's grateful for. Fran's also got gratitude and water and exercise and less coffee. Jamie's been doing PE with Joe Wicks every morning. I know lots of people are doing that and really enjoying it. So that's great.
Great. Brilliant. So thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully this has resonated a little, and we hope you've taken away some small tips and a couple of changes that you can make. We will send out the slides shortly, along with the recording as well. We really do appreciate your attendance at all 3 of our webinars. If you'd like to delve a little deeper or find out more about how we can support you or your team's resilience, please do get in touch. And we really do hope that we can keep supporting you and your teams during this period and beyond. We'd love some feedback. The poll pop up there, so do let us know in the poll what you'd like to see more of.
Good. Right, listen, Cathy, thank you very much for today, and that is the conclusion of all our 3 webinars. We have had some feedback which has been really lovely, that actually you would like some more webinars, so we're putting our heads together to think about actually maybe what's the most useful as we move into the next phase as well, so we will get back to you with that as well. So please do let us know if the format worked for you and any amends before we maybe launch some more. What you will get now is we will send out another email. Please do check your junk box as well, just because it will be sent as a newsletter, and we'll have all 3 recordings, so all of the 3 webinars will now come out to you. But thank you very much for leading today, Cathy. I've certainly been much better with my sleep since you took the team through it last week. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone gets to enjoy the sun. I hope it stays for the weekend, which it doesn't look like it might in Scotland, but enjoy the sun, and thank you again for being here with us. We will hopefully be back at a later date, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll just hang on a second till I get all the polls as well. Brilliant, thank you. So quite a lot of people were quite keen on that resilience podcast that we talked about, Cathy, so 75% would like some of that as well. So brilliant, good. Do get in touch and we can kind of give you more details on that as well. Brilliant, thank you very much. Brilliant, we will say goodbye. Thank you, and I hope you all have a really lovely day, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.